You are encroaching on common property. This fence line must be moved back immediately, or you will face further action from the board.
A neon orange fine notice was wedged under the strap of my life jacket at 6:58 a.m., right on the public path by the water, like someone wanted the whole shoreline to see it. The lake smelled like muddy reeds and motor oil, and the boards under my feet were still slick with dew. The board lady stepped out from behind a picnic shelter and said, "You're using the shoreline wrong. Pay up or lose access." This is a dramatized story, but the HOA tactics are real. I wasn't throwing a party or building anything fancy. I was walking the marked path to reach the small launch area that every homeowner is supposed to share. One plain fact hit me hard: if they could charge me for misuse of a shared access strip, they could make the lake feel like it belonged to only their friends. I asked her what rule I broke. She pointed at my canoe and said, "Storage." I said, "It's in my hands." She said, "Doesn't matter." Then she waved her clipboard toward a wooden stake stuck near the path like it was a border marker. That stake hadn't been there last month. Two neighbors nearby suddenly became very busy untangling fishing line, even though their hooks weren't in the water. I went to the clubhouse at 9:00 a.m. The lobby smelled like lemon cleaner and hot printer plastic. I asked for the map that showed where I could walk and where I couldn't. The manager said, "The board decides." I asked for the written policy. He said, "It's on the website." When I pulled it up on my phone, it didn't mention the lake path at all. The board lady leaned in and said, "Don't play dumb. You know the boundary." So I stopped trying to win a shouting match and started collecting clean proof. I filmed the path signs, the shoreline, and that mystery stake. I took photos of my canoe being carried, not stored, and the fine notice tucked under my gear. I sent an email asking for the official easement description and any recent updates to shoreline boundaries. No reply. Just a second fine notice 2 days later, like they were testing how fast I'd fold. That's when I built my grown-up folder. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. Then I requested the association's shoreline enforcement notes and any contractor invoices for boundary marking. At the same time, I hired a licensed surveyor to review my closing documents and mark the shared access strip properly. Not to fight. To measure. Bullies hate measuring. On May 18, 2024, the surveyor showed up in a bright vest with a tripod and a long measuring tape, calm as a librarian. The board lady arrived too, acting annoyed like the lake had personally insulted her. She pointed at the mystery stake and said, "That's the line." The surveyor didn't argue. He just checked the recorded plat and his instruments, then marked fresh flags along the actual shared access route. The board lady's face went tight when she realized her stake was planted inside the shared strip, not at the edge. The surveyor handed me a plain drawing with no fancy logos, just measurements, and said, "This area is an easement. It can't be narrowed by a private marker." A neutral compliance officer the association contracts for disputes reviewed the survey and asked the manager one question: why were fines issued based on an unofficial boundary? Nobody had a good answer. Within a week, the fines were withdrawn and the mystery stake disappeared like it had never existed. The lake path felt normal again, open and quiet, with birds arguing in the trees instead of board members arguing at me. A neighbor who'd avoided eye contact finally nodded and said, "I thought that stake looked suspicious." I smiled and carried my canoe down the real path, thinking the same thing I always think now. When someone tries to shrink your rights, a survey line is louder than their voice.